from knee stand. I'm gonna mirror, so I'll do left leg out to the side, right hand down, and that could be to the ground or to a prop, because if your bottom leg can't stay vertical, or if your bottom leg butt has to go backwards, then you're too low. And so coming up will give you potential for bringing your hips more in line with you. Okay, there's the spiel for that. So left leg out, right arm down. And so here we have been working a lot on movement of the shoulder blades in this like overhead plane. But here in this pose, we can start to work with this idea of our shoulder blade moving toward your head with a straight elbow and away from your head. And what you have to play with is, if you point your elbow crease straight forward and then do that move, your shoulder might feel totally fine. You might be like, I hate that, it's terrible. I don't know. Then turn your elbow crease, not like all the way forward, and it's not just your elbow crease, so keep the base of your pointer finger grounded so that when you turn your elbow crease, you also turn the front of your shoulder out a little bit, maybe like 45 degrees, and then go shoulder towards your ear, shoulder away from your ear. And what you're kind of looking for is like, where do I feel like I have the most, I don't know, like access? Where does it feel the best? You can try turning your elbow crease out a little bit more if the range of motion is available to you. And for me, there's usually a place where I'm like, oh yeah, this feels both okay, I have good range of motion here, and I have like good power for when I push down into my block or to the ground. So find that rotation of your shoulder, because that's going to be a nice one. If you're turning your elbow in, you can also think about what position that puts your shoulder in. And if in the end we're doing wild thing, that's going to require more of an elbow forward. So my encouragement is to try to work your elbow crease more and more forward, but not at the expense of where you have power and what feels good. So if you need to start with your elbow crease in, and then as you get more strong and confident, you can turn your elbow crease out, meaning rotating your shoulder out. That's the way to approach it. Okay, so we'll start here, find that push. Then take this top leg and move it back. Yeah, and so as you move it back, you can take your top arm and reach it, I would say reach it overhead. And then from here, think about your shoulder again. Push the ground away from you and imagine that you're turning your chest toward the ceiling. And then sweep back down. And so you can do circles with your arm, but really think about that bottom shoulder. Or you can just open and close back down and practice that movement. Okay? And then do the other side. This isn't the only thing we'll do in this sort of side plank variation, but play with a couple on one side and then go to your other side and try that same thing. And for me, this is a really, really great way to start to get a sense of, okay, well, how's my wrist doing? The other thing is, if your wrist is really uncomfortable when you do this, you can do a couple things. You can move your arm a little more forward so that there's less bend here at the wrist crease. If you move your arm away from you, you might find, oh yeah, that's better. Now I can grip the floor with my finger pads and root through my pointer finger knuckle. You might find that you need to practice on your knuckles. And for that, it's nice to have this option for knee down. Okay, so play with it. You might already be doing it. You can move that top leg back a little bit to basically place you in the back bend shape. You can play with where you want with how forward you can get your elbow crease before it feels like, ooh, yeah, it feels sticky, or it feels painful, or I lose my power. And then push your shoulder blade away from you and start to sweep this top arm up and back, and then think chest toward the ceiling. Push the ground away from me, chest toward the ceiling. And do that with circles or open and closes is what I think of those as. But really drive that from the bottom arm. Grip the floor. Pointer finger knuckle down, elbow crease turns the shoulder. Okay, and then release.